Ever wonder what tasty dishes middle-class families enjoyed back in the 1970s? The answer is lots and loads of great food, some of which I'd do anything to have back. The kind of food that made you love dinner time in a middle-class home. Starting with chicken tetrazzini. This is one of those classic American dishes that brings happy smiles to any dinner table. It's a creamy, cheesy pasta bake made with succulent pieces of chicken. Traditionally, it's prepared by sautéing mushrooms and onions, adding broth and cream, then combining with cooked spaghetti and chicken. This combo is then baked with Parmesan until golden. Who else misses gathering around the dinner table to enjoy this hearty meal? Cookbooks like Joy of Cooking featured this recipe, so you know that folks in the 70s were eating good. Chicken tetrazzini was named after the Italian opera star Luisa Tetrazzini, but its origins are firmly rooted in early 20th century America. It became a popular dinner party dish in the 1970s, and it was a great way to use leftover chicken in a luxurious yet tasty manner, just like the liverwurst sandwiches. I love some sandwiches, but liverwurst was special, and I want them back. This dish features slices of liverwurst, a type of sausage made from pork liver, spread between two slices of rye or white bread. Liverwurst comes from Germany, where it was known as Leberwurst, and it only made its way to American tables through German immigrants. It became popular in the mid-20th century. In the 1970s, it was sold as a nutritious and convenient option for busy families because it had high iron content but was very tasty. It was a go-to meal for picnics in the 70s. To prepare a traditional liverwurst sandwich, simply spread a generous layer of mustard on one slice of bread. Add thick slices of liverwurst and top with thinly sliced pickles or onions if desired. Place the other slice of bread on top and voila, your liverwurst sandwich is ready. When it comes to quick and convenient meals, Hawaiian Haystack certainly took the cake. This versatile dish begins with a bed of rice, generously topped with a savory chicken sauce and adorned with an assortment of fresh, crunchy toppings. So why did we ever stop making these? The true origins of Hawaiian Haystacks remain a bit of a mystery, but they surged in popularity during the 1970s as a fun, interactive meal for families. Back then, it was all about turning simple ingredients into festive and versatile meals. Interestingly, despite its name, Hawaiian Haystacks have no known connection to Hawaii. They are believed to have originated in the continental United States, likely within the Mormon community, where they were popularized as a crowd-pleasing dinner option. If I had a magic wand, I'd definitely bring this one back right after bringing Celery Victor. If you guessed it, the dish was created by Victor Hertzler, a chef at San Francisco's St. Francis Hotel around the early 20th century. The funny thing is, this food has nothing to do with Hawaii. It became popular through author Clarence Edwards, who featured it in his 1914 book, A Bohemian Guide to San Francisco Restaurants. By the 1970s, it made its way into middle-class homes due to the growing interest in gourmet cooking at home. To make this dish, blanch celery in broth and vinegar until tender, then drain and cool. Next, whisk olive oil, vinegar, Dijon mustard, and herbs for the marinade. Now pour over celery and marinate in the fridge for several hours or overnight. Celery Victor was a popular meal loved for its low-calorie content and great taste. I don't know why we stopped making it, but it would be great to have it on our tables again. What do you all think about corn fritters? These delicious pancakes are made from a batter mixed with sweet corn kernels, giving them a tender inside and a golden, crispy exterior. Corn fritters have their roots in Native American cuisine and Southern cooking, where corn has always been a staple ingredient. They became popular in the 1970s as a versatile side dish or snack. Corn fritters are made by mixing flour, baking powder, sugar, and salt with whisked eggs and milk to form a batter. Stir in corn kernels, then fry spoonfuls in hot oil until golden and crispy. They can be enjoyed plain or with a drizzle of honey or syrup for added sweetness. It's giving, "Grandma made me these, and I love it just like I love my potato rissoles." Potato rissoles are yummy patties made from mashed potatoes mixed with a variety of ingredients and then fried until golden and crunchy on the outside. This must have been inspired by rissoles, which are a small croquette or patty made from minced meat or fish, mixed with various ingredients such as onions, herbs, breadcrumbs, and sometimes eggs. Potato rissoles have roots in Europe, where they were a popular way to use up leftover potatoes. By the 1970s, they had become a beloved side dish or even a main course in many American households thanks to their satisfying texture. If you miss that 70s feel and are not afraid to try old recipes, go ahead and make some for yourself. Who else remembers making these with Mom in the kitchen? I miss making those mashed potatoes. Next is this really tasty steak called Steak Diane. Trust me, it has nothing to do with a woman named Diane. Steak Diane is a retro classic that brought a touch of restaurant elegance to home kitchens in the 1970s. It is said to have originated in the 1950s. By the 1970s, Steak Diane had made its way into home kitchens, celebrated for its dramatic preparation and luxurious flavors. How? Well, a little bird told me that New York chef Beniamino Schiavone thought it was a bright idea to name this meal after Diana, the goddess of the hunt, to attract high society diners. I guess it worked. Steak Diane was made with steaks, shallots, Dijon mustard, Worcestershire sauce, and heavy cream. If you've never had these, you're missing out on something. And if you did, would you want to try it again? I'd travel back in time for it and maybe grab the chicken Morango on my way back. This savory stew features tender chicken cooked with tomatoes, garlic, onions, and white wine, often garnished with mushrooms and sometimes even prawns. Chicken Morango was named after the Battle of Morango, where it is said that Napoleon's chef created this meal from available ingredients after a victorious battle in 1800. Legend has it that Napoleon refused to eat until a meal was prepared, prompting the chef to gather what he could from the battlefield. It became popular in French cuisine and eventually made its way to American kitchens. Back then, chicken Morango was found in cookbooks and food magazines, presented as an exotic yet accessible dish for home cooks. And then it went away, just like oyster stew. This classic seafood soup features plump oysters gently cooked in a rich, milky broth seasoned with butter, onions, and a hint of celery. It has roots in the coastal regions of America, where oysters were plentiful and not so expensive. Historically, oysters were considered food for the poor due to their abundance along the coastlines. People who have roots along the coast or often visited loved ones there appreciate the simple essence of this stew. Made with fresh oysters, milk, salt, pepper, butter, and a touch of green onion, it embodies simplicity at its finest. Oyster stew became especially popular as a festive dish served during the holiday season, particularly on Christmas Eve, in many families of the mid-20th century. Dinner time was epic back then, and I miss it, but not as much as I miss this herring salad. This vibrant and tangy dish added a punch of flavor to 1970s spreads. It features pickled herring mixed with diced apples, onions, beets, and potatoes in a creamy dressing of mayonnaise and sour cream. Herring salad, also called herring under a fur coat or shuba, has roots in Northern and Eastern European cuisine. The addition of vegetables and a creamy dressing makes it both visually appealing and flavorful. It became popular in the U.S. in the 1970s at potlucks and family gatherings. The salad was often featured in cooking magazines as a bold and sophisticated dish for entertaining. No wonder Russians see it as one of the best salads ever. Placed side by side with steamed pudding, I don't know which one I'd choose. Which would you go for? Steamed pudding brought a touch of old-world charm to 1970s family dinners. Made by steaming a batter of flour, eggs, sugar, and sweat or butter, often with dried fruits and spices, it results in a moist, dense pudding. The slow steaming process ensures the flavors meld together beautifully, creating a rich dessert experience. There are many types of steamed puddings, including Christmas pudding, which is served during the holiday season. There's also spotted dick made with dried fruits. Steamed pudding has origins in British cuisine and was cherished in the 1970s for its rich flavor and nostalgic value. Cookbooks highlighted it as a perfect dessert for special occasions, celebrated for its anticipation and warm, spiced goodness. Have you ever had rabbit stew? This stew features tender rabbit meat slow-cooked with vegetables and broth, perfect for chilly evenings. Originating from European peasant cuisine, it used available game meat. Rabbit meat was often preferred for its lean quality and delicate flavor, making it a versatile choice for stews. By the 1970s, it was beloved in American homes for its rich flavor and rustic appeal. In Greece, especially on Crete and Icaria, rabbit stew is a celebrated dish, often made with local game meats. In Slovenia, rabbit meat is recommended for babies starting solids due to minimal antibiotic use and its natural taste. Though rabbits are now often pets, making them less popular as food, for the adventurous, start by browning the rabbit pieces in a pot and adding seasoning. It's perfection on a plate, much like bouillabaisse. This luxurious dish is made with lots of fish and shellfish simmered in a fragrant broth of tomatoes, garlic, onions, leeks, fennel, and saffron. Bouillabaisse has its roots in the port city of Marseille, where fishermen would make this stew using the bony rockfish they couldn't sell at the market. The dish's name derives from the French words bouillir, to boil, and abaisser, to reduce, reflecting the cooking method. It became famous internationally as a symbol of French cuisine, with its complex flavors made by combining onions, leeks, garlic, and fennel in olive oil until soft and fragrant. If you make this, would you invite me over? Here's the one meal I really want back: borscht. This beet soup brought Eastern European tradition to 1970s kitchens with its deep red color and tangy flavor. To prepare borscht, sauté onions, garlic, and carrots in a pot until softened. Add chopped beets, cabbage, and potatoes. Cook for a few more minutes, then pour in the broth and bring to a boil. Simmer until vegetables are tender, then add vinegar or lemon juice. Borscht is often enriched with beef or pork for additional depth of flavor, making it a hearty meal. Serve hot with sour cream and fresh dill. Borscht became a dish when Ukrainians, influenced by the Romans, began incorporating beets into the recipe. In the 1970s, due to Eastern European immigrants and a growing interest in international cuisines, it became popular in the US. There was a whole cookbook just for it. That was Jane Blankstein's Nothing Beats Borscht, Jane's Russian Cookbook. Do you all remember that popular cartoon Ratatouille? Well, that meal was tasty in real life, not just in the cartoon. Originating from Provence, Ratatouille was celebrated in the 1970s for its healthy, flavorful vegetarian option. One of the earliest French mentions can be found in Henri Ayrault's 1903 book La Cuisine à la Nice, where it is described as a stew of eggplants, tomatoes, peppers, and zucchinis. Elizabeth David, a prominent British cookery writer, later featured a ratatouille recipe in her influential 1950 book, A Book of Mediterranean Food. This vegetable stew added Provençal charm to 1970s dinner tables with its medley of summer vegetables simmered in olive oil with fragrant herbs. Who misses haddock mornay? If you're new to this meal, a little background. Haddock mornay is a creamy dish that added French sophistication to 1970s dinner tables. This casserole features haddock fillets baked in a cheese sauce made from Gruyere or cheddar, milk, and Dijon mustard. Haddock mornay is prepared by poaching haddock in milk and then creating a cheese sauce with butter, flour, and the reserved poaching liquid. The sauce is poured over the haddock, topped with breadcrumbs, and baked until golden. In the 1970s, haddock mornay was famous as a sophisticated yet approachable dish. They didn't lie. If it's cheese, it has to be good. I have to admit, some of these 70s foods were weird, like frog legs. In the 1970s, they were featured in gourmet magazines and cooking shows, touted as a delicacy perfect for special occasions, adding sophistication to meals. Frog legs, known as cuisse de grenouille in France, became popular in America as culinary tastes expanded. French monks started eating frogs' legs in the 12th century during Lent because they were considered permissible to eat, not being classified as meat according to Lenten dietary rules. These tender morsels, often compared to chicken in texture and flavor, are prepared by frying or sautéing in a flavorful batter. To prepare, coat frog legs in seasoned flour, dip in beaten eggs, and roll in breadcrumbs. Fry in butter with garlic until golden and crispy, then finish with lemon juice and parsley. That looks too good to be rabbits. Maybe we should stick to chicken and bring back chicken marbella instead. Chicken marbella became popular in the late 1970s thanks to the Silver Palette cookbook by Julie Rosso and Sheila Lukens, which introduced many home cooks to this innovative dish. Its unique combination of ingredients reflected the era's growing interest in international flavors and gourmet cooking at home. This entree features chicken marinated in prunes, olives, capers, and garlic, then baked with white wine and brown sugar to create a rich, caramelized finish. To prepare traditional chicken marbella, start by marinating the chicken in a mixture of prunes, olives, capers, garlic, olive oil, and oregano for several hours or overnight. Preheat the oven and arrange the marinated chicken in a baking dish, pouring the marinade over the top. Sprinkle it with brown sugar and pour white wine around the chicken. Bake until the chicken is golden brown and the sauce is bubbling, basting occasionally with the pan juices. Serve hot, garnished with fresh herbs if desired. Who else wants this back as soon as possible? Now, onto some more unusual 70s food. Let's bring back roast goose. Roast goose is a magnificent and festive dish that graced many holiday tables in the 1970s. This succulent bird features crispy skin and tender, flavorful meat, often accompanied by rich gravy and traditional sides. It has a long history in European cuisine, especially in Germany and Britain, as a traditional Christmas dish. Economically, using geese as a main dish and selling them as food was a smart decision. They were larger than chickens, so a whole family could feed on one of them, so long before turkey took over, there was a goose. Okay, how about rabbit fricassee? Fun fact, fricassee is not a name in itself. Instead, it is a cooking method that involves braising meat in a creamy sauce. The sauce typically includes cream or a mixture of broth and cream, thickened with flour or egg yolks. This stew is made with tender rabbit pieces simmered in a creamy white sauce with mushrooms, onions, and herbs. Rabbit fricassee has roots in French cuisine and became beloved in 1970s America for its rich taste and tender meat. It was featured in gourmet cookbooks like Mrs. Benjamin Chew Howard's 50 Years in a Maryland Kitchen. This popular classic Maryland cookbook was printed and reprinted over the years, with a revised edition coming out sometime in the 1940s, which was reprinted in the 80s. The rabbit was a popular choice among monks during Lent because it was classified as a type of fish, permitting its consumption. Rabbit meat, known for its all-white texture, looks like chicken, but with a consistency similar to pork. And what other treasure did we leave behind in the 70s? If you want to know, like this video, click subscribe and stay tuned for more.